Hello and welcome to the last video for my etude. I would have posted like a video for my last etude, but with my first uploaded video to YouTube, it took me half a night to upload it. So this is gonna be my last video for the etudes. In this etude, we are going to be talking about the illusion of depth. What I mean by the illusion of depth is we have stereoscopic and anaglyphic images. It gives you the illusion that there's something happening in the background or something is basically popping out, like objects have perspective. How you have certain objects in the background and certain objects that stand out more than the ones in the background. You could call them fore objects and background objects. And since since it took me half a night just to upload one video, I'm gonna keep this video brief, but I am going to give all the information I can, and I'm going to be coherent, and I'm going to be right to the point. And the like technical process that I took with creating the first stereoscopic image, I used After Effects, which is actually a different approach to how others will produce stereoscopic image, because they usually go to Photoshop and play with the channels or the adjustments there. But I decided to do it this way, and and I could use the tutorial from digital tutors, but they were doing a bit differently they had since theirs was about buildings, and the buildings were in particular positions so you could see every single element. So what I had to do was cut out my pieces separately. So if you see in my assets here, I had to cut every single bit. So certain bits are in front and certain bits are at the back, and I had to keep them in a certain order. So I had front end, second end, and so on. And these are all PSD files which you can import into After Effects, which is quite convenient. And then I basically position them so in After Effects you can actually go to your top view, and as you can see you have that's like the front one, that's the second front, and then second last, and the last one. That's really good. That's where I like After Effects. That's why I prefer After Effects to Photoshop, because it gives you the feeling that you're working in 3D space. It's really convenient. And we'll go back to front camera. That's basically how I did it really. And then I went back to my. And then after I did that, I just dragged the front end composition to the left and right eye composition, and I just created a camera there. And I played around with the positions, and then I created another composition, and I basically changed the like channel colors for each the left one and the right one, and then I played around with the positions some more, and then I toggled the modes, and I changed this to add, and I got the result I wanted really. And if you were to look at this, it's not here, it's a full screen. Where is it? Yes. Let me get my 3D glasses out, and you can see that certain bits are popping out. Like the one on the left seems more depth because I was playing around with it a lot on the right. But seeing how is I thought that with this image it would be easier, but actually it was harder. So I had to keep on going back to Photoshop and cutting out the pieces more accurately, so certain bits at the back wouldn't be left out, so you can actually notice them, kind of like staying in the background, as if they were actually behind the foreground object. And it's really interesting because we can we can create the illusion of depth with 2D images using physical components from the physical world. Basically, you can't really create depth with stereoscopic images without stereoscopic glasses, 3D glasses. That's really interesting. And I actually used another way to create a 3D image, and I decided to use a freeware software called Anaglyphic Maker, and basically that's my final result. But I'm just gonna give you a quick overview of how I did it. I basically made two duplicate layers within the same positions. I just left the background layer blank. I could have deleted it, but I didn't feel like it. And you set the opacity to 50%. This made it really good because I could see a preview of how it could look like. Not completely, but a little bit of a preview, you could say. But this is not a 3D image yet, not yet. But it does give you that depth that it is 3D, but it's not really. But I just played around with this. I used the move tool, I used the rotate tool, and then like the transform palette, and I also use scale, and I also use warp. Warp is really good because it gives you the illusion that that you're working with vertices. And once I was happy with that, I saved them separately, as in separate JPEGs, into left and right, and basically, what happened was I had to turn off the visibility in one layer in the other, because if I was to turn the visibility for both of them, then I wouldn't you wouldn't see the image that you're looking for. So once I done that, I just opened up my anaglyphic maker, and I loaded the left image and the right image. Then I made it, really. That's how you make it using this anaglyphic maker. But the first time I did it, I didn't get the results, so basically I had to swap it around. So I loaded the right image into the left one, and then I loaded the left one into the right one, and then I got this result. And as you can see, it's quite a good result. The neck, especially, has a lot of depth to it, and the nose as well. And it's really good because ZBrush models are already they are already detailed, yet we and yet here we are creating more depth. And again, the depth cannot be achieved without these 3D glasses, and that's really interesting. It really is, because we have to basically physical components will always have an influence on digital components, and even like when we go to the cinemas, we have these 3D movies now, but the fact is that the physical world will always have something that the digital world doesn't, because the digital world is trapped in like a flat screen. Physical world actually has perspective. It actually has a lot more things that digital components don't. But then you could argue for, every kind of aspect of it has its own weaknesses and strengths. Like digital media has its strengths, and then traditional media traditional like perspective in real life form has its own strengths and weaknesses. But that's basically what I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to keep it short, and hopefully this won't take that long to upload the video. But anyways, I hope you hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot. Take care, and then I will see you in my next video.